my main company is about artist representation and the complete lack of it in our society. If you go into, so this is about my gallery with Satoshi Kamatsubara. My gallery's in Shiodome. I'm opening up another one in Hong Kong in February, a third in Bangkok in March, and Istanbul and Buenos Aires coming up. But I do different things with art galleries. What I actually try to focus on is creating context. In this, it's on the 47th floor of a building in Shiodome, and it's in the Petcha restaurant. It's a very large space. But in a normal gallery setting, what you end up having is white walls. And to be frank, it's very boring. You go in there for an opening and then you leave. With my galleries, what we do is we try to create a setting. We do a collaboration. I pay like a small rent for this, but otherwise I'd have to pay like $20,000 a month. Instead, I can provide this, create a really good atmosphere. This is some photography work, and I was trying to bring out the bikinis that you were mentioning. That's my actual work. I don't do a lot of it, but he did. So that's about the galleries. And we really try to focus on supporting young emerging artists like Antinuk, like Min Jae Lee, who we just saw on the front cover of our Business News, and he's now recognized as the best living artist under 30 years old. When I met him, he had 400 friends on Facebook. A year and a half later, he's got 200,000. In context, Yoko Ono has 215,000. So our company we kind of know what we're doing when it comes to PR. With Antinuk, this is one of his pieces. Sorry if some people in here believe in nuclear energy with all Fukushima problems and everything else. It's happening, it's coming very apparent that nuclear energy is probably not the best option. Which brings me on to my next point. The whole reason this artist exists is because of overpopulation. In Japan, there's such a large population that it's import dependent, which means just there's too many people. There's not enough resources in this country to sustain it. And it's actually one of the main reasons which causes war. Most of the problems we have in the world are because of overpopulation. If we have a situation where we can control population numbers, like China did, where they're actually changing that now, they would have a much better situation. No matter how you look at it, there's too many people, there's too many problems, there's too much destruction, everything else. But if we didn't have that situation in Japan, this artwork would not exist. And again, sorry if anybody's going to be offended, I've already had 600 death threats, I'll probably get some more. So that goes on to that point. My newest projects are actually in regards to city planning. So I'm working with one city in the UK, one in Greece, and one in Brazil right now. My main principle of it is very simple. This is Min Jae Lee. This piece took the front cover, and it's sold for a fair bit of money. But again, he's only a very young artist. But giving the right PR, giving the right presence in the media, you can see this work. But otherwise, without that existing, you'll never be able to see it. This one up in Rio, I curate this wall every month, a different artist, and it's a nice thing. You know, it's very pure. Art is just a big proponent of our culture. If you go back to caveman times, it's on the walls. You have dancing, you have song, you have spoken word, like this great artist in front of me today. But you have all these things, but there's no marketing, there's no public relations based on art. So that's what my company does. But when it comes to city planning, we end up having a situation where we have these cities we build, but because the populations are growing so quickly, and because we're so worried about cost and cheap materials, we end up building these structures and creating cities where we don't care about what it looks like. I came into Tokyo, I just flew in yesterday, and I was coming in and I was just bored to death. I came through and I love Japan, don't get me wrong, I've lived here for 2 years, but I came through and I was coming on the Shinkansen or whatever it was I was on, and all the buildings were the same. In 100 years, these buildings won't be there. They'll be knocked down because they're boring to look at. They're not thought about. They're just thought about, let's put a body in there. We need something quick. We need something now. If you go back to, I don't know, maybe 500 years ago, you go back 1,000 years ago, these structures still exist. You go to Istanbul, one of the largest buildings still existing is still there. It's a huge dome. It makes American architecture with their super domes and super bowl places look like a joke. These things were designed thousands of years ago and they still stand. People go there, they go to look at them. The structures that we see today, are you going to go, you know, when you're 90 years old, you tell your kids, oh, go and see this area, it's great construction. It's not going to happen. They build up really quickly, they get knocked down. This is actually one of my favourite things in the world. It's called the 5th or 6th Plymouth in London. 4th Plymouth. And I'm hoping to get a piece of art on there soon, but it changes every 2 years. And what happens is that the public can vote or kind of agree to have a piece put up there. It goes through Westminster Council, but it allows art to come in and change. When you have all these stagnant pieces that are always there, like this piece is beautiful, but it's always going to be there. It never changes. But it's in the public eye. This is an old building in Tokyo. Now, you know this place, right, everyone?
Tokyo State.
There you go. Does that look great, or does that thing in the background look great? They've redone this. It's a beautiful piece of architecture. They're not going to knock it down. But this thing in the background, they're knocked down in 3 or 4 years if they feel like it. It's ugly, it's not thought about very well, and it's just thought about business. It's really, really quick stuff. Another piece of outstanding art, in the public, you're going to go there, you're going to enjoy this. But when you go into a general city, you don't have these things. And art is an afterthought, where it should be a principle. It should be one of the main things of our society to really have art as a part of it. When you're going into a city and you start seeing these things, you want to do things better. And what I mean by that is, it's much less likely you're going to create like litter. You're not going to do so many bad things. If everything's beautiful around you and you enjoy living in this place, you're going to have a better life. This is Venice. It's beautiful. People go there now, and it's built so long ago. So this is officially the ugliest city in the world. It's called Guatemala City, and it's a principle of overpopulation. It wasn't built for this. Number one is meant to be Bruges. The thing was built thousands of years ago. When it started, people took their time and they built it. So my ending comments are, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. My name is Ryan Roth, and thank you again, everybody.
Ryan, don't go away. There's lots to talk about. We could be here all night, actually. So I think a lot of stuff you say is fantastically correct. You know, we support you. I think that there are a lot of great buildings into Tokyo. I think
stunning ones.
I think, you know, the Olympic Stadium, built the same year I was born, and it's going to be reused for the Olympics, is a testament to that. But I think you're absolutely right that you come into Tokyo and it is 90% of what you see is totally boring. You know, but it's built in a very well way. It's very efficient, and maybe it should be knocked down in 40 years' time, just to keep the building stock fresh and new. We're going to argue, you see. Aska's got the mic now, so there's going to be a bit of a fight going on.
なんかライオンはなんか街の中で結構つまんないよねというあんまり綺麗な見てもいいものってなかなかないんでぜひもっとアートが入れた方がいいんですがで入れてもなんかこう変わった方がいいんですよね。なんだっけ鶏ってブルーの鶏ってペデスタルに乗ってたやつが実はそれが仮説なんですよ。1年間だけってそこでいるんですがでそれでまた変わるんですね。でそういうふうにでアートを入れなければならないというまずなんですがでずっと同じものじゃなくてそれをなんかこう変わればいいという感じでyeah, the touring chicken.
Anyway,
that's right, right?
Anyway.
It's not just putting the art in the city, but even more having changing open air exhibitions.
It's not just open air exhibitions, but it's about when you're in the UK right now. There's Southampton City Council, my local, and they're doing something like a $25 billion project to regenerate the industry there. What I'm arguing with them actually on a daily basis is they've got it wrong. They're doing the same thing. They're doing cheap buildings in a cheap way, but they're ploughing money into the situation for cheap construction. But what they're not thinking about is the long term. And what they end up doing is build the buildings, but then you don't want to go there. It looks exactly the same. In 10, 15 years' time, after the newness has gone away, you don't care anymore. You have to do it again and again and again.
But that's where the Baltic Centre is doing better in Newcastle and all that area there. Yeah, there's a lot of regeneration there with a lot of art-focused projects.
What they're doing in that area, it's not so. They're saying it's art, but they're not thinking about the long term. They're doing it very short term. So they do art projects, and they're trying, like, look what the cultural city before Riga a few years ago. Nothing's happened from it. The Olympics is a failed situation where it's meant to be I think they called it the Olympic something. There's a word for it about long-term benefits of the Olympics. I'm sorry if
Legacy.
Legacy, there we go. But they just announced it's failed. I've been arguing with Boris Johnson since last year about doing art projects on the underground.
Right.
And they won't do it because they say such things as we haven't got a budget. And I've said, I'll pay for it. And they said, we don't have a budget. I'll pay for it, Boris. But it doesn't work.
I told you we could be here for a long time. We'll continue the conversation at the bar a little bit later. Ryan, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And by the way, I love Tokyo. Don't get me wrong. It's just some building stuff.
We're trying to change
More
that.
art! More art!
Thanks, Ryan.